Don't let them take your guns. True. Oh, this guy's from the UK. Felix, you poor bastard. Pardes needs a bigger gun. A 45 at least. What's up, gamers?
What up, everybody? Here's our little show over here. And, that's actually, I don't know if we're allowed to use the original photo of this really cool couple. Are we allowed to use their original photo?
We're not, well, if we're monetizing it, then kind of not really.
Interesting.
Like, we need their permission.
So you can use it, but all these news outlets that are sharing sharing a photo of this couple, that was like in St. Louis today, that was like defending their home from these rioters.
Ironically, news corporations are kind of given an exemption from that for whatever reason.
What?
Well, because...
But we're news. We're sharing news.
That's true. That's true. We're alt media.
Yeah.
That's right.
But we're not covered by that?
I don't think so. For whatever reason, like, the courts need to be a little bit more proactive about getting caught up to speed. The problem is on the Supreme Court. Like, think about the youngest people on there are literally boomers. Like, the youngest people on the court are, like, born in the 60s. So I don't think they're as up to speed. There's, like, 380-plus-year-olds on the court.
They're public figures now, somebody said.
Yeah, they are public figures now, which is why, I mean, it's pretty much fair use. I'm saying, like, if you're monetizing it, it might get kind of dicey, especially if you make a lot of money off of it. But, like, I don't think we'd be making enough money off of it. It would be really cool if we were, guys.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to be making enough money off of it to where it would be worth it for them to even try.
Yeah, we'd be making like $10.
Yeah.
Imagine like this rich, like, boomer couple was like, we need a cut of your money.
Yeah, like, give us a cut of your, like, $8. Pardes, you know you're not old enough to drink. Yeah, that's why she's not drinking. Only I am.
This is cranberry juice.
That's right.
Cheers.
Well, see, it's that picture. Oh, that's the actual picture.
This is the actual picture that I just switched.
I don't think anybody owns the right to that picture.
Yeah, this is a picture. This is actually
it's
a screenshot from a video.
Yeah, which is pretty much treated as public domain almost, right? Like, if it's been in the media, if it's been, like, circulating by all these outlets and you can't really find the owner, like, you snooze, you lose.
Well,
Paul Nye, let's see. 199.
Paul.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, Paul. Woohoo! Yeah, well, you know, we might get rich and they might actually come after us now.
Put some vodka in the cranberry juice. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, okay, so this is what I want to know.
What's up?
So, if you see, so I'm going to show you this video for everybody who hasn't seen the video yet. It happened today, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of like Black Lives Matter protesters break into gated community. They literally break into the gated community.
And there was allegations that was made up, but like they found footage of the gate broken. So there's like, if you can find it, there's that picture that we have of the gate that's broken.
This is it.
Right.
This is it. The gate.
Yeah,
broken.
Right here.
Yeah.
So it's clearly broken. So anybody that tells you otherwise is just not correct.
Yeah. You saw that. It's a picture of this. You saw the gated community being broken into. They didn't show the video. They didn't show that at first. You had a bunch of these like Black Lives Matter journalists who like joined a mob of people who showed up to these people's community. This couple that was targeted, by the way, they didn't have anything to do with the protest, right?
No, so apparently, according to their attorney's statement in a CNN article I read, so there you go, like CNN even, they were eating dinner in their yard when the protesters walked by their house, but, menacingly, they feared for their lives, and under Missouri law, it's a castle doctrine state, which means that if people are trespassing on your property, which they were doing, they were on their lawn, and there were like...
After having broken into their private community.
Yeah, clearly trespassing. Yeah, like, so clearly they felt threatened, and so they drew their firearms, and, the big controversy was, were they allowed to point them at the protesters? I mean, according to a University of St. Louis law professor that was interviewed by CNN for that article said, they were within their legal rights to defend themselves by drawing the firearms and pointing them at the protesters. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as the law is concerned, castle doctrine, you have the right to use lethal force to defend your property if you're fearing for your life and someone's on your property. So I think it's pretty cut and dry, even though the local district attorney or whatever is trying to go after them for it.
They're all, and it's
blatantly political.
It's totally political. And also the video, can I show you the video that they posted?
Yeah, it's a good idea.
They posted this video at first that was like totally didn't show like the real thing of what was happening. This guy.
So no context, they don't show break-in.
You might not hear it.
But I mean, clearly as you can see from that video, right?
Thank you, Joe.
Oh yeah, thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
How's it going, man? Yeah, clearly as you could see from that video, even that selectively edited clip, they were way outnumbered. They were clearly on their property. There were probably at least 20 people in that shot alone, and according to the family, when they were interviewed by this CNN guy, the attorney said, oh yeah, they thought there were well over 100 people.
Whoa.
And again, breaking down the gate, like...
Yeah, I'll show you the gate again. Joe, it's good to see you. Thank you. I'll show you the gate again. This is the gate.
Yeah, like, clearly there was force used to knock it down. And Pauperation says they're all Democrats, though. I don't know if you mean
they're talking about this couple. They're saying
couple?
that the couple, and they came out with a statement afterwards, and they're like, well, we support Black Lives Matter and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe this is like I've lived in blue states my whole life, so, like, I always assume that, like, if anybody has a firearm that is... like, it's a pretty fair inference that they're also Republicans. Maybe that's not true in Missouri. I hear that Missouri, the gun culture is a lot more big, even among Democrats, but I still think like, I don't know. I think even if they do or don't support Black Lives Matter, that's irrelevant. But, like, let's be real. I feel like it's a fair assumption to say that they probably don't. They're just saying that so that the media doesn't crucify them, even though they're going to do it anyway.
I actually agree. Everyone is going after these people, and they're saying these people support Black Lives Matter, and they made a statement saying they support Black. I mean, like, I don't, you know, I'm not saying that I'm not, like, saying that I agree with what they said, but I actually don't think that either. As someone who's lived in blue states also my whole life, and I don't either think that they are wholeheartedly supportive of Black Lives Matter, especially after what happened. I mean, I don't think anybody is. You talk to anybody on my parents' street, and
maybe they were before and now they're not. I don't know.
Yeah, they're definitely not. I mean, and they're making this statement. I think a lot of people are genuinely afraid of Black Lives Matter, especially people on the left. They, like, yeah, like, or Democrats or whatever, I think a lot of them are genuinely afraid of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And they're kowtowing. Like, these people are not, nobody thinks that, nobody actually wants these people in their neighborhood.
No, and it's not about peacefully protesting. Like, they'll say, oh, we were just peacefully protesting, and all of a sudden this lady starts pointing guns at us. Okay, I'm sure that most of the people in that crowd were not the ones beating down the gate, but they followed the people who beat down the gate. They followed those people into the community. They went onto private property. As far as I'm concerned, where the gate is, that's private property once you set foot past the gate.
Yeah, stop being a peaceful protest once they pass that gate.
Yeah, like, and especially to walk on somebody else's lawn, and, I mean, it sounded like pretty threatening, and I would feel pretty threatened, even if they're just carrying signs. If 20, 30, 40 people roll up onto my front lawn, I'm going to get kind of defensive. I'm going to get nervous. And I'm going to not take any chances by just assuming that it's nonviolent because, again, by setting foot on my property, you're implicitly threatening me when there's that many of you. Yeah. I don't care what you're protesting. I don't care if you're protesting for something I agree with. Get the hell off my lawn at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people who come out and say, like, I support you and whatever, like, it's not unreasonable to say that, it's not crazy to say that these people are in some way begging, like, please don't kill me, like, don't come after me, or don't come after my business, don't loot my house, don't come after my home, when they're putting these, like, statements out.
But what they don't understand is that they're literally, it's like the sanction of the victim. They're literally justifying it by saying that. And by kowtowing to these people, you're making this culture worse. Of, like, you're perpetuating that culture of them coming after you and this cancel culture mentality. It's like, look, dude, they're not gonna like you anyway. Just because you're throwing them a bone,
yeah,
they don't care.
They don't care. They're gonna come after you anyway. Neo Neon Aricus, thank you so much, Neo Neon.
Yeah. Thanks for the contribution.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat.
Yeah.
Neo Neon says, Pardes and Richard, good points being made. However, do you get tired of talking about politics? Can't be the only thing to discuss.
I do. Like, I've kind of, like, you kind of can't get away from it because your work kind of requires you to not get away from it. Like, generally, I mean, I like talking with you about it. And also, I like to do my, like, hour or two of politics a day. And I can't, like, I get too angry otherwise. It's too stressful. And I get too depressed thinking about, like, how absolutely atrocious the state of politics is. So, yeah.
I kind of like it. And I think it's because, like, it's almost like a game for me in some ways. It's like a drama. It's like watching a drama, like a soap opera sometimes.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad.
I don't really like soap operas.
Yeah.
Are you trying to convince us or yourselves the rest of your generation needs to wake up? Whatever that means. Wake up to
Are we
what?
trying to convince you of what?
Yeah, like, okay.
Like, here's the thing. When it comes to Black Lives Matter, I see so many people that when you have a conversation with them, I see so many people who are like, their default is to like defend Black Lives Matter because they don't know if you like support Black Lives Matter or not support Black Lives Matter, but the default that everybody's gonna go to is to say is to put up that black square and say we, you know, like we agree with you, Black Lives Matter, we support you, and so like that's like the default until I think that's fear, and that's the problem. That's really the problem. But I understand it. It's not like so far off. We've all caved to like social pressure or fear before without, because we thought that it's gonna hurt our careers or our lives. I mean, look at this guy apparently they're going after this guy's law license now.
Yeah, trying to get him disbarred. I mean, my thing is I can't I've been nervous, with me, like with school. I'm afraid of getting canceled or whatever in school, and I'm just done I'm done caring too much about that. Now, I'm going to be somewhat careful about what I say and things like that, but more about the way that I say it rather than, I can't be silent and not speak out anymore because I feel like it's getting to crunch time in terms of where, this is a pivotal moment in our country's history. And I feel like the more that good people stay silent, the worse things you're going to get. That's why we're here now, is because so many people have just silently gone along with it.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, what else I'll say to that is you can only get canceled if you allow yourself to get canceled.
Exactly.
It
requires your consent.
It does require your consent. There are plenty of people who still say whatever they want and do whatever they want. Somehow, they do it. And you're just like, oh, well, that's, and that's just Kanye West. He's a crazy. Whatever. That's just him. That's just Elon Musk. He's a crazy. I mean, Elon Musk and Kanye are two examples of people who've gotten away with a lot of things. And good. I'm happy for them.
We were talking about this the other day, though. Everyone can get away with it.
Everyone can get away with anything.
If you just don't apologize and you make it clear, this is the way it needs to be for me to be comfortable, this is the way that I need to live my life, and you need to either get on board or go to hell.
Exactly. People leave you alone eventually. It will get hot in the moment.
Maybe. But you realize that, once you get it out, that was the hard part, and then it's like, oh, really? It was this easy?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
It's people will push back on you so much until they realize that you're serious and nothing's going to change your mind. And then they just leave you alone, and they might even smile at you. They might even do the thing that they told you not to do just because you did it. They might even follow you.
No, exactly.
Yeah. It's actually really cool.
It is, and you can start a revolution within your own family and within your own community.
Yeah, you can, and you can change people's minds just by saying, and that's why a lot of people are asking why, by the way, Joe Anderson.
Oh yeah, thanks for the super chat.
Yeah,
man.
Joe is.
He said, too much politics can be toxic. And I agree.
Yeah, it can be, and we don't always only talk about politics, but we just like it a lot.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. But, and the reason why I can talk about politics now is because the reason why right now I feel comfortable to talk about politics is because I moved out of the big blue cities. And for me, I think that's been a big thing, is being away from those environments that made me feel pressured to think and speak a certain way. And I always felt like in Washington, D.C., and I love D.C. because it's fun, but also I just always felt so pressured to be a certain way and to not offend certain types of people, and I'm just so tired of it. I'm so happy. It's you've commented on my previous videos versus now.
Yeah, no, like I think that you seem a lot happier now versus then. I think a lot of it is just getting out of these big cities that are shitholes, honestly.
Yeah, like it's like China. Like everyone, you have to talk a certain way in order to like not be just, you know, a social outcast, and you know your job to not be hurt.
Oh, thanks for the
Neo
super
Neon.
chat.
Yeah, Neo Neon on YouTube. This is on YouTube, by the way. When we read these
YouTube
super
too.
chats, we're reading the YouTube ones.
Neo Neon says, all right, let's brainstorm here. The trend before cancel culture was being an edgelord. Now it's to cancel everything. What do you think the next trend will be? Canceling the cancelers? I mean, look, like, I think that there is this kind of vicious cycle that you're seeing where, like, and we were talking about this too, like, the identity politics stuff is garbage, whether it's, like, these Black Panther whatever people or these, you know, BLM people or the white nationalist alt-right weirdos. And the alt-right weirdos are a reaction to the, you know, white people are awful, like, racists on the left.
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
I'm not saying that justifies it. I'm saying it's natural that you're going to have pushback in that way.
Like a white lives matter sort of thing.
Yeah. And you do see some of these weirdos on social media saying stuff like that, like white lives matter and all this other stuff.
Well, what do they expect is going to happen?
Yeah.
They're like, if you take everything, and we know someone, like, you know, if you take everything that Black Lives Matter says and you just replace black with white,
it's like one of these neo-Nazi people. Like, and that's, look, it's racism. Like, I hate it when people say reverse racism. It's like, it's racist. Period.
Yeah,
there's no such thing as reverse racism. There's, you know, being racist against white people is just as bad as being racist against black people.
It's the same thing.
Like, being a collectivist of any kind, like hating rich people because they're successful, like that's, I would say that's actually even worse because it's hating
something good. Why would it hate? It's hating prosperity.
Yeah.
Why would you hate something that's causes good things?
Although it's also obviously evil to hate somebody for something they can't even control, which is like race or their eye color or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
This is so funny. This
White Lives Matter is just pushback. They're just saying that to troll. I think a lot of people are saying it just to troll, but I do think that, like, there's also a fair number of people who are not saying it to troll, who are, like, actually, like, these alt-right people. And I'm not saying that, you know...
I think America's, like, kind of fucked a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think that we're getting to crunch time. Like, I think if things don't start turning around in the next 10 to 20 years, I do think we're kind of fucked. And, you know, I thought that we had a lot more time.
They're not going to turn around. It's like, all, like, if you go online, first of all, the media is completely owned by people who, like, actually hate America. Like, they actually hate America.
The thing is, I think there's enough people in America that, like in that essay, the Rand essay, I think there's enough people in America who are fundamentally good, who are, like, I don't agree with them maybe on a lot of different things, but their essence is not hatred for this country and what it stands for. There's a lot of people that still understand what this country was built on and the principles that this country was founded on, and they are willing to fight for those principles.
Are they willing to fight? Are they willing to actually, like, physically go and fight in the streets?
You don't need to yet. Like, we're not there yet. It's literally just a matter of the war of ideas.
It's like, the thing is, though, like, you have one side, the good people, and they're good. I'm not saying that because they're not good, but, like, the good people are, like, they're having a war of ideas. But the other side are people who are lighting cities on fire.
Yeah.
Like, they're people who are willing to fight, and they're willing to coerce and scare people into submission. Like, one side is out for blood, one side is actually fighting and getting their hands dirty, and the other side are like the good people. Well, what's the good people like?
Well, I don't think that they need to fight yet. They just need to like articulate a defense of America. And that's the problem that the right has had for so long, is they refuse to fight the moral fight, which is, they always give the morality to the left. They say, yes, socialism is a great idea in theory, but in practice... Okay, so you've already conceded the biggest argument, which is about whether it's morally justified or not to take everybody's shit.
It's because people on the right...
They're cowards.
They're cowards, yeah.
At the very least, the politicians... And the thing is, the politicians...
And they're so afraid of being called racist.
They're afraid of being called anything. Yeah. And it's like... It's all about the optics. It's all about the optics. It's not... Like, you cannot do that. You can't have an argument when you're just concerned about how you're going to be perceived. Joe asks, Pardes Richard, what are your thoughts on Trump's odds for 2020? I'm usually pretty bad at predictions, but although I did bet $1,000 that Trump would win last time, and I still didn't see that money, Guy Singer.
Wait, who?
One of my friends, I bet like $1,000 that Trump would win because he was so confident. And he said, look, I feel so bad for taking your money. I will bet you $1,000 that the Republicans won't keep the Senate because the idea is, okay, we'll both lose and it'll cancel out.
Oh, and you were right.
And I was right. And he also said he'd give me 5-1 odds that Trump wouldn't win, meaning I would get $5,000 if
Trump doesn't win this year.
This was 2016, and he never paid me. Prick. Anyway, I think Trump. The polls are pretty bad. They were pretty bad last time, though.
I think I honestly like.
It's all about the debate. Like, I think that's what it's going to come down to this time, and it comes down to whether they're going to let Trump off the leash or not. Like you were saying, like I think the campaign is keeping him in a box right now, and he's not able to do what he does best, which is just kind of like be a guy. Like, he's not allowed to just be himself. His handlers are micromanaging him too much.
Yeah.
I
think Trump is gonna win, honestly. I'm just, and not saying like, I'm not even saying like what I want or don't want or whatever. Like, I actually think it's gonna happen because this is like kind of like what happened in 2016.
Yeah. And
everyone was like, oh no, like there's no way Trump's gonna win now. Like, was that Trayvon Martin? And like all these things happened right before the 2016 election.
Yeah.
The same thing, except like on like a smaller scale.
Yeah.
I honestly think like Trump's gonna win this time, but it's gonna be even worse where like in terms of like people will be even quieter about it. Like, nobody wants to say that they support Trump in any way, or even are, like, neutral in Trump, Trump.
Like the shy Tory, shy Trump voter effect. Like, people are afraid to say they're going to vote for him. I mean, I know that I
know Democrats who are like this.
Who you think are going to vote for Trump?
That I know, that they've told me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I make people feel comfortable, so they tell me stuff. So, like, I know Democrats who are... And not just one or two, like a decent amount who have been like, like...
Razorfist made a post the other day that showed like the polls in 2016, at this time in 2016, the national polls were about the same as they are now. Like plus or minus 2 points. Like...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, look, we're a couple months out from the election and things change really fast, but somebody says, what is your ethnicity? You don't look Aryan. I'm assuming that you're talking about
Me.
Pardes. Actually, she's more Aryan than I am. She's Iranian. And Iran technically means land of the Aryans in Farsi. So.
Yeah. So when, like, Yvonne says, what's up, Yvonne? Yvonne says, wait, you don't dare have where you work on your...
bios for fear of repercussions for speaking your mind because the left gets people fired.
Right. I mean, I don't dare have where I work. No, I mean, a lot of my friends don't dare have where... You're right, actually. Like, it's true that you can't... That there's a limit to how... it's true that it's not all. There's a lot that we can't control.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, you can't. There's stuff that you can't control, so you can't focus on the things that you can't control, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you can't.
It's like that AA prayer.
You can't set yourself up to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AA prayer. What was that?
It's something like, dear God, please give me the courage to change the things I can change, the serenity to accept the things I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, like, you can't, like, go into things you can't go into things trying to change things.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like, you have to just recognize what's possible and what isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we should...
But we should stop, says Nizo Moreno. We should stop what?
We should stop, I think he means we should stop trying to, like you said, like, change everything that we might not be able to change.
What up, Hamid?
Hamid?
I'm just going through some
The
comments.
Serenity Prayer, yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm not religious, but I think that that's a good message. Yeah.
Yeah, Yvonne says you did a good job quoting.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you know what? They are gonna go after everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. Like,
Yeah.
in the beginning, they go after, like, Richard Spencer.
Yeah.
I'm
and
just,
then mainstream conservatives, but they don't see the difference, like you said, between Richard Spencer and Ben Shapiro or anybody like that. They think they're all the same.
They think it's all the same. Like, the media won't. Either they don't know or they don't care. Like, people on the, not even just on the right, people on the center or right, who join in the cancel culture and they say, like, oh yeah, like, this guy is, like, a fringy, so I'm, like, gonna, like...
Me or you?
Me.
In my case, it's both.
Someone
Italian and Jewish.
said Italian or Junos.
For my case, I'm German on one side, but I think there's Jewish ancestry on that side.
In my case, it's the Junos.
Yeah. The nose knows. Jimmy Kimmel will not be missed. I never thought he was that funny. I don't find a lot of these newer late night comics that funny. I kind of liked old Letterman. I kind of liked what's his name? Leno. I liked Leno a lot, and I like Jay Leno's Garage.
Yeah.
You ever watch that? He's got, like, a show where he just shows everybody his cars. He's got all these old cars.
That's so funny. I haven't watched it.
It's a very boomer show. I watch it with my dad sometimes.
I should watch it. Yeah, I feel if you're anybody who has, like, joined in the cancel culture, like, ending the career of somebody because of, like, you thought that they're like a fringy, like, it's okay to go after these people because they're actual racists. That's alt-right. And you're gonna destroy people's livelihoods because they're alt-right. Like, I'm not that or anything near that. And you should be prepared for people to come after you because the people, the torchbearers don't see the difference. They don't see the difference between alt-right and, I don't know, like Glenn Beck and like Jake Tapper. I mean, I've seen people call Jake Tapper white supremacist.
I thought Jake Tapper was a Democrat.
Yeah, like, they don't see the difference.
He was a CNN normie.
They're to the people on varying degrees on the left, they are so much in a bubble that because a lot of these people are in, like, academia or whatever, they're in such a bubble that to them, like, everybody who's, Jake Tapper is not even such a good example because he's, like, but they don't see the difference. Like, they don't see the difference. People are gonna come after you sooner or later. You're gonna be a racist sooner or later. You're gonna be branded as, even if you look like me, even if you're dark, like, black or Asian or whatever, like, it doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna come after you at some point. And it doesn't matter how big or how little you are. So, like, people who have joined in, like, the shaming and destroying livelihoods of people and destroying people's families and whatever, because they thought that it couldn't happen to them, and then it happens to them, I don't feel bad for those people. Like, even if you apologize and everything, I will appreciate your apology, and I will nod heads at you, and I will like you, but I won't, like, feel bad for you or anything. Like, I'll be happy that it happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're participating in this and then you get eaten by the mob that you helped feed, like, yeah, I don't really feel bad.
EB says, so you don't think, Pardes, that there are real racists in America?
Oh,
I don't
absolutely
care.
there are.
I don't care.
No, I mean, I do care, like, when people are, like, actually treating people differently because of it. I think that's messed up.
I care when people are being violent and destroying people's lives, and, like, people who are, like, these, like, boomers.
Yeah, that's obviously
and, like,
worse.
These boomers in these small towns who are like, oh, like, they never saw, like, they never saw, like, a brown-looking person in their life, and they made, like, a weird comment. Like,
no. I mean, okay, I would say maybe that's rude. Maybe, you had a bad habit there, you should change that. I wouldn't compare it even to the violent people, but I think, yeah, like, obviously once you've passed that bare minimum of not being violent, I think there is, like, a certain amount of, like, education that you get from interacting with people from other backgrounds to just be like, okay, like, there are certain things that might be offensive, and just, it would behoove me, in order to not make them feel bad, for me not to say these things, right?
yeah. I think as long as you're, like, not hurting anybody.
And I think that includes being rude to them, like, not hurting their feelings intentionally, especially. Like, like, it's not even about, like, race per se, it's just in general, like, trying not to be rude. Like, trying not to, like, burp in somebody's face,
But,
right?
like, also, the thing is, like, Americans are really the least racist people.
Sure.
Like,
I would say so.
I don't even think that racism is it's just, it feels stupid to even be talking about racism in America, because, like,
I mean, compared to, like, these Middle Eastern tribal warfare type situations especially. But even, like, Europeans are rude.
Compared to anywhere, and even the only reason Europeans might be a little racist is because they have so many cultures in Europe from other, like, Western culture inherently is not so, like,
they're not as bad as the other cultures. I don't think that means they're perfect. I don't think that means that there's no room for improvement. I just think, like, you have to do it.
I just think it's being totally disingenuous. It's, like, coming from, like, sorry, I'm talking over you.
No.
Like, it's just, like, the people who are, like, bringing this up as an issue tend to be pretty racist. Like, it's always, like, I don't think racism is even a big enough deal in America that we should even be talking about it. And maybe it was, like, some time before my generation, but, like, right now in our generation, it's not a thing. Like, in my America where I grew up.
Well, that's part of it too, though. Is like LA area, California, any part of California, but especially, like, the big cities. I think it is a little different than even somewhere like I grew up, where it's very, like people are weird. Like, the Irish people are weird to the German people sometimes, and vice versa. Like, I haven't encountered that much stuff, but, like, even that, there's, like, a little bit of weirdness, So it's, like, especially in some rural parts of America, I'd imagine, it could be a little bit weird. And again, I'm not saying it's, like, obviously the 1960s where people are getting lynched or anything like that. Like, obviously that's not happening, and thank God for that. And obviously we should be mindful of how much progress has been made over 50, 60 years. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that things are perfect and couldn't be better. Just like people could be nicer and less rude to people. Like that lady in the building, right? That door lady, she was like the doorman or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, no racism involved, obviously, I don't think. She was just really rude. Like, I don't care why people are rude. It's just like, lose the attitude a little bit. Like, people, like, take the extra 2 seconds to be nicer to people and friendlier to people and not... And I mean, that would be the kind of racism I think would exist in America and probably be the most common, is stuff where they don't say explicitly, like, get out of here, you black person, but they treat people weirdly or more rudely than they would other people.
Yeah.
For, like, irrational reasons like race. Right? Like, and I think, again, like, as a society, can we improve on that? Yeah. Obviously, we should keep in mind the context. We should keep in mind that we're way better than everybody else and we've come a long way from where we were, but that doesn't mean we can't improve a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just say, like, I think that people who think that America is, like, really racist, and not you, but, like, I'm saying people who actually think, like, America's
An inherently racist society that's built on the back of slaves and all sorts of
I would
stuff.
implore, like, those people, and I've traveled, like, enough, I feel like, to be able to say this.
Sure.
But, like, I would say just, like, leave the country for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying leave America and, like, move out and deport yourself and whatever, but just leave the country for a little bit. Go to some other places. Go to, like, Iran, or go to, I don't know, South America, or, like, I don't know, somewhere else in the Middle East. Go to Asia. Go to any Asian country. Like, spend some time literally anywhere outside of America and then come back here.
I never said it was about just us as whites.
Wait, who
whatever
said
your
that?
name is, Oswald. Oh yeah, of course, Oswald Mosley, whatever. Yeah, I'm saying there's like, I think I'm not saying it's exclusive to white people. Obviously, like, you know, I've kind of encountered that on the other side, and again, it's not like boo-hoo, poor me, I was treated so meanly, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, like, I've been treated weird because of, you know, my race. But, like, am I going to cry about it? No. Was I a little annoyed at the time? Yeah, but I got up and I got on with my day, just like that rude door lady.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, like, if I knew that person and I was friends with that person and I saw them being rude like that, I would have been like, you know, that wasn't really cool. Why'd you do that? Again, just like if they were rude for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess you could say it has to do with being a good person. Like, being a kind, good person to everybody. But I think the topic of race has become very politicized, because I think it's just right now an excuse to, like, it's just become an excuse right now.
I actually agree with this XXS Castaneda. The United States has a serious issue with wealth and inequality. People are mad, they want someone to blame, and racism is pushed by the media as an alternative to class warfare. I would actually say the racial warfare that the media is trying to push is an extension of class warfare, and when you hear the Marxist academics talk about it, they do talk about it in those terms. Like, they'll talk about the bourgeoisie and the working class, and they'll say these classes are in conflict with each other and they're destined to clash.
I can't stand it. It just drives me nuts.
It's really awful. And then what they do is they substitute bourgeoisie and proletariat for white and black. And they'll say there's this racial hierarchy, and they do talk about it in those terms. They talk about it
so much. It's so
And it's like, how many privilege points do you have? Well, I'm a black, disabled, veteran, whatever the fuck. And it's like,
everything is black and white.
You're
black,
white passing,
white,
so that
black,
gives
white.
you more privilege than other brown people, but it gives you less privilege than me, because also you're a woman, and also you're like all this other shit. And it's like,
yeah,
it just pisses me off. It's like the only thing that these people can see. It's so primitive. All they can see is color. Like,
and they're just always talking about it.
it's like, can we just see each other as individuals? Like, that's so retarded.
Yeah, and it's also just like a shitty culture. Like, it's like a shitty collective culture. They're just they virtue to them is like not about being a good person to a lot of people who think this way. It's about like how like unfortunate you are and how many sacrifices you've made and how destitute your life is and how like I don't know, it comes
Poor me, instead of like, okay, here's a problem, let's solve it.
yeah, and it's like if you've like had to deal with people like that throughout your life, you're just like does not feel good at all.
Truth hurts
nice.
2K. Who would ever take pride in being a victim? Well, there's a very big group of people in this country who take pride in being a victim, and it's called being pathetic.
There's a lot. What do you mean? Who would ever? This whole
No, I mean, I think he meant
you,
it.
but...
He meant it in the sense of like, who would ever like why would these people do that? And I think so. Like, do I have any good black friends? What does that mean? I have any good friends who are black? I mean, I have some black friends. Yeah, I don't understand the question. Yeah. Anyway, truth hurts. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of people who take pride in it because they have this victim mentality, and there's that one person who we were talking about, whose name I'm not going to say, but who we knew from school, who very much would like really enjoy the role of playing the victim, and would use that as an excuse for everything, like why this person couldn't get ahead in career, why this person can't get ahead with, finding someone to date and all this other nonsense. And it's like, I think people do take a certain, they use it as a crutch. I mean, in reality, these people are not happy people when they do that. And you can see it. Like, you can see it manifested in a way that they, like, don't really take care of themselves a lot of times, whether that be, gaining a ton of weight, or like not even bothering to put on like a proper outfit in the morning.
Yeah.
Or like,
it's like depression. Depression made into like an ideology.
Yeah, they basically rationalize their depression with like shitty ideology.
Interesting, yeah.
They abuse our empathy. That's exactly right. And like Ayn Rand points this out, like these people, like these socialists who have taken over this country have done it bit by bit by kind of like leaning on Americans being, I mean, we are like the most generous culture in the world by far. And we're willing to give people another shot, always. And they take advantage of that. And it's so disgusting because the entire welfare state was created by just saying, oh, like we're doing this to help people. We're being like generous. And they make this ideological claim that we're just like voluntarily giving them charity. And it's like, well, when someone takes your money at gunpoint, that's not voluntary charity.
Yeah. Welfare is like destroying communities.
Even worse, the regulations and the licensing laws that were actually created for racist reasons in the first place, like it's despicable, and it's really harming low-income people, and we need to get rid of these awful regulations that prevent people
also
from...
the idea that just people are always like, well, this, like this, these people are like suffering, or those people are suffering, like if to justify whatever like collective injustice has to be done, whatever like collective sacrifice we all have to make. Well, this person is suffering and that person is suffering. Have you ever suffered with this? Have you ever suffered with that? And it's like, like in order for it, because this group of people or that group of people in your mind might not even be true, but because in your mind this group of people are suffering, then everybody has to suffer in order for it to be equal, like, it's stupid.
It's an equalization of suffering rather than
Instead of lifting those people up, and instead of saying, oh, okay, like, I'll start an organization, let's go and give money to these people, help people, whatever. Instead of doing that, you're basically bringing everybody else to their level of suffering.
Yeah, exactly. And you, like you can only achieve equality by breaking people's legs, like that. So, I actually have no respect for Rand Paul, whoever said that. What regulations specifically? Well, there's the whole occupational licensing regime. Like, you need to go through over a year's training to become a licensed cosmetologist in a lot of states, including, like literally to cut somebody's hair, you need to pay for a year of school. You need to pay an annual fee to renew your license. I believe it's Texas that the Institute for Justice is challenging this law, but basically you need a year's worth of training in order to do eyebrow threading.
Oh my
and
God.
Yet you need to go to Austin every year in order to pass, like, basically a bar where there's like 3 people on a panel who are asking you questions. It's nonsense. So for these poor business people who are trying to get ahead, not that this is relevant, often minority, often low income, right? And personally, I don't like, their race is immaterial. It's that it's a poor person who's being abused by this awful government system, and it needs to stop. Like, I think it's a tragedy that we've allowed all this nonsense to go on in this state, and I mean in this country, and so hopefully we're moving towards getting rid of a lot of this nonsense.
Yeah. Do you want to see that video of Stefan Molyneux?
Should we talk about the Molyneux stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, 2 people were like banned. I mean, a lot of people have been banned from stuff today, but apparently Trump has a Twitch account, so the president's Twitch account was banned from Twitch today.
I didn't even know that he had a Twitch account.
Yeah, I didn't know he had a Twitch account either, but apparently Donald Trump was banned from Twitch today. And another person was banned, and this seems like a bigger ban because it's a person who spent a lot of time on YouTube and made so many videos on YouTube, and I don't want to support a lot of this guy's ideas. I shouldn't even be saying that beforehand, but to justify me talking about how upset I am that this happened to this person. But this guy, Stefan Molyneux, he spent so much time on his channel.
Yeah, I actually used to watch him a lot. I don't anymore because he really went off the deep end with like peddling a lot of this like alt-right stuff. But I still think it's a nonsensical thing that they did by taking his
crazy.
channel down.
He spent so much time building his channel up. You wanna come here a little bit so you're not blocked by this video.
Yeah, I got you.
He spent so much time building his channel and like, oops. That's funny. That's cool. Make this big. Okay, we'll make this big.
This is Stefan Molyneux. As you may have heard, 14 years of my life, thousands of videos, billions of comments, hundreds of millions of views, and nearly a million subscribers has been destroyed, has been erased from YouTube. The accusation is the usual one that I'm fomenting violence and hatred and so on, which is not true at all. I have consistently promulgated the non-aggression principle and called for reason and evidence as the methodology by which we can resolve social disputes and differences. It doesn't seem to have mattered, of course. The reality is that book burning is underway. Myself and many other dissidents and anti-communist intellectuals and speakers have also had channels destroyed across a wide variety of platforms within the span of only 1 hour, and what I assume is a highly coordinated effort to silence us. And it is a blow. Don't get me wrong. It is a huge blow. It is a huge challenge. And the goal, of course, is to remove the middle, to remove those of us who are looking for peaceful solutions, rational solutions, philosophical solutions to social differences, to take us out so that there is no center to society and everyone can gravitate to the extremes where the tinderbox of violence can be lit in a revolutionary conflagration of brutality. And I'm going to strongly urge my friends to resist that temptation, resist that temptation to go to the extremes, to hostility, to go to rage, to go to violence. It is not too late. There is still incredible technology that we can use to further the rational and philosophical discussion of issues within society. And I'm begging you, please stay in the conversation. It is my dedication and my foundational goal to maintain and possibly even grow this philosophical conversation, despite the inevitable blowbacks that philosophers always receive from the powers that be. So please help me out. It's going to be a pretty harsh winter and a pretty big reorientation. I'm going to beg you, please, my friends, go to freedomain.com/donate.
Help me out. I will come back stronger and better, and we can avoid the escalation that could burn us all to the ground. freedomain.com/donate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, so you heard the echo that was coming from that.
Yeah, that's what it was. All right, but anyway, you guys got the gist of it. So basically, like Molyneux, like he was clearly off the deep end the past few years.
And the thing is that it actually does not matter. Everyone's talking about what he said about this and that IQ and this and that. I actually didn't even see any of that. And it doesn't even matter.
That's when I stopped watching him, but yeah, it really...
It doesn't matter.
I mean, if you're not openly calling for violence, I think personally, and I put out a tweet about this, like, I think that when you look at people like Molyneux, when you have them open to be debated and you have them open to see in their full context that's not edited, that's when you can actually get into, debating them or, critiquing them. You can't do that with a 2-second, highlight reel where it has, like, obviously bad stuff that he says, and then they edit it to make it even worse. You need to be able to debate these people. And so, for the same reason that these people should be allowed to come to college campuses and speak and be heard, and then debated. Now, I think that it would be, invalid to say that and then not to bring up, like, yeah, Molyneux said a lot of weird stuff about race, a lot of bad stuff about race, and a lot of, like, he was one of these weird IQ people.
Oh, like race and IQ or whatever.
Which is when I stopped watching him, but his whole channel started as a way to basically communicate why it was important to not hit your kids. Which is personally, like, a big issue of mine. Like we've talked about it.
Yeah, like time. Not hitting kids, yeah.
And he had a lot of really valid... This is actually how he got onto the race and IQ stuff, I think, is he would look into... there was a very high correlation between hitting your kids and lower IQ.
Oh, interesting. So was he... Oh, so he was... Okay, so that's why he was saying about, like, race. He was saying you shouldn't hit your kids.
He was saying you shouldn't hit your kids.
And people who hit their kids have lower IQ.
Yes, and then it eventually spiraled into, oh, well, there's... Black people hit their kids more. Maybe that's why their IQs are lower on average. Which, I have no idea. I haven't looked too much into the science. It's clearly, like, from what I have seen, it's clearly not genetic. Not that that is relevant, really, to the conversation at all. But Molyneux also, during that transition phase, when he was talking about how, mostly about still children and IQ and, how hitting your kids lowers their IQ and, why you shouldn't hit your kids. He started talking about McCarthyism. He had a lot of really good long format videos talking about, like, delving into historical things that frankly most people were not covering at the time. Things like McCarthyism, things like, and I liked those videos a lot. This was like, I think 2015, 2014. And then he really went off the deep end in 2016, 2017 when I stopped watching him.
But, like, honestly, I think it's a cultural thing right now that it's like, even the fact that I do this, that I'm like, oh, but I don't really agree with him, but, I mean, I just do this right now. And I actually, it's almost like if you don't do it, like, then you're agreeing with the person. And if you're agreeing with the person, then something bad is going to happen to you. But, like, it's just like there's, like, acceptable thoughts to have and there's unacceptable thoughts to have. And it bothers me that things have become that way.
Yeah.
Like, Stefan Molyneux is a human being with opinions, just like everybody else, and
he might be dumb, but that doesn't mean he's not entitled to them.
And they might actually be smart. Who are we to know? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that we should all be, like, relativists or whatever, but it's like...
What hate speech? People are saying, oh, it's about hate speech. What hate speech? Now, is it hate speech to say a statistic? Now, it may or may not be true, but to say, oh, this group of people has lower IQ, why is that inherently bad? It might be wrong, it might be stupid, and you might make stupid conjecture as a result of that about like what policies we should enact. But how is it a problem to say, you know, here's a statistic? Like, I never understood that.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable because he started saying a lot of weird stuff about Taylor Swift's eggs and stuff. And he was like talking about how mothers really want to, like, genetically want to be, you know, women want to be mothers.
It's not the
and all
same
this other
thing.
stuff.
You're saying, so EB, you're saying that he's the same thing as the people who are canceling,
Yeah, I don't think he should be taken
whatever.
down. I was just like, I'm not going to watch this anymore.
And actually, that's what you should do. If you don't like if you don't like something, or you don't agree with it to the point that it makes you uncomfortable, watch it. Don't watch it. But don't try to stop other people from watching it either, because like the world is bigger.
Well, don't force people. Don't try to force people to stop watching. I mean, you can have a conversation with a friend about why somebody's dumb and why they shouldn't watch them or give them money. But like to force a channel down, like, come on. Yeah, there's no proof of correlation between race and intelligence. Whatever happened to the good old adage, yes, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Ironically, you know, one of the things that the boomers got right that subsequent generations were wrong about, because they turned away from the old ways. Stefan was beneficial because he would debate commies and you get different perspectives. Yeah, I do think that was a thing. But why was he banned? People must have complained. Well, yeah, people were reporting his channel all the time, and literally just by saying something like, oh, there's a correlation between race and IQ, like, you can get banned for hate speech on YouTube. I mean, I'm kind of impressed that he got as many subscribers as he did, but...
So I actually just linked the mug, like a link to the mug that is with a couple.
Oh yeah.
So this is like, so you can have one of these mugs, okay? F around and find out. You can have one of these mugs. It's in the description. It's on Twitter. You can find it. And it's not just a mug. There's the mug. You can get a pillow with this design. You can get this design on like a lot of other things. What else do I have? Oh yeah, you can get like a laptop case. You can get a pillow. You can get a mask. So you can get all these things. And you just click on Twitter. It's in the link in my bio, or you'll just see it on my feed. On YouTube, if you're watching this, you can see it's the link in the description, like right under the video. You'll see it says like buy the mug here, and like you can, like, if you want to see any of the other, if you want to see this design on any of the other stuff, just go, like, scroll down and you'll see all the other merch that you can get with this design. And it's just like a fun thing to do with this picture. Anyway, Someone is asking if there's a gun if there's a gun holder with it printed on. No, there's no gun holder.
That maybe.
Yeah, you could probably make it. Just get like a sticker, or actually on you can get stickers. You can get the sticker version of this.
Yeah.
And you can like.
We're selling that too.
Put the sticker on a gun holder.
Yeah. Get the mask, Kenny Harrington. You should. It's an awesome mask.
Yeah, get the mask. Yeah, it's
If you're gonna have to wear one in public for the next couple months, which might be a thing.
Yeah. We're all gonna have to be wearing masks soon.
Yeah, Might as well get one that's washable.
Yeah.
So should we end discussion of the Molyneux thing, or like I just found out the reason why he was banned.
Why was he banned?
So they banned Molyneux, David Duke, and Richard Spencer, and a couple other alt-right people for hate speech. Now, again, it's been a while since I checked in with Molyneux. However, to lump him in with Richard Spencer and David Duke, David Duke being literally a former leader of the KKK. Now, he argues about race and IQ, sure, but like he never makes any extrapolations from there that we should like do anything about it. He just says like, you know, we should stop mass immigration, I think is the only thing that he'll say. He's never said anything about like eugenics, which is what this article is claiming. To my knowledge, I might be wrong. He might have changed his mind on that, but to my knowledge, he's still an anarchist. So he doesn't think the government should be doing anything, let alone, like, you know, sterilizing people because of their race or anything like that. Like these cretins like David Duke. Anyway.
Yeah, that's upsetting. I feel bad for...
And not to mention what they did to Alex Jones. Like, he's just a harmless meme lord who's...
I miss Alex Jones.
Yeah.
He was funny. He's the only funny... He was the last funny person left on the internet. Everybody else is stupid and boring. Because if you're even a tiny bit edgy,
he was just a humble water filter merchant. Supplement merchant. Of course, David Duke said a ton of things that are bad. Like, he was literally the leader of the KKK. He's an awful person.
Okay, so one last thing before we leave, because we have to go soon because it's getting late.
Oh, yeah. One
last thing before we leave is I just want to say, I just want to remember Betsy Rothstein.
Oh, yeah.
She was Daily Caller. She was their like gossip editor. Very funny. She's like she was very energetic, and I wasn't very close to her, but she I like interacted with her a couple times because she was running like the kind of like the DC sort of gossip column at the Daily Caller, and she knew everything about everybody, and like she was always accurate, and she was a real journalist because she really prided herself on getting everything accurate, and she would get frustrated with people if they lied to her, and people would lie all the time, and she would get really upset. Like, she would go after them, and she would like ask a million questions and try to get down to the bottom of everything. And it's really unfortunate. She passed away from cancer on Sunday, I believe. And if you look on my feed, just like, I don't know, I guess scroll up on my feed, Tucker Carlson wrote a tribute to her. And it was really sad. Hopefully her family finds comfort in knowing that she was a really sweet person, and she made a lot of people happy while she was alive. And she also did real journalism, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really know her, but I still feel sad.
Yeah, so R.I.P. Betsy Rothstein. If you like get a chance to read the article, it's called... Where is it? In Memory of Betsy Rothstein on the Daily Caller website, written by Tucker Carlson, who's like... You know who Tucker Carlson is. So, there it is. She was honest. She was a good person. Okay. All right. 1 second. Should I read it?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, it's really short. I'm just going to read it really quickly. Tucker Carlson wrote this about Betsy Rothstein. Betsy Rothstein passed away Sunday among family following a long battle with cancer. Betsy was the most honest person I've ever met. She hated lying the way some people hate snakes. She recoiled in horror from lies. She found them repulsive and the people who told them contemptible. It sounds funny to say it now, but Betsy went into journalism because she wanted to tell the truth. Journalism changed over the past 30 years, but Betsy didn't. She had the perfect temperament for a gossip columnist. There was nothing prurient about her interest in other people's personal lives. She didn't care what kind of underwear you wore or what you did after midnight. Nothing shocked her. She believed in privacy. She almost never talked about her own life. Some of her friends had no idea where she'd grown up or how many siblings she'd had. Betsy wrote a gossip column because she loved exposing lies. She was a truffle dog for duplicity. A few weeks ago, I went to visit her. She was at her brother Joel's house, where she had been living since the hospital sent her home. We both knew it was the last time we'd see each other in this life. We sat in the living room all morning, holding hands, saying prayers, often in silence. Betsy was tired. Her beloved spaniel Whiskey slept in her lap. Just before I left, she lifted her head and looked at me directly. Her eyes were clear. I asked her what she'd been thinking. Nothing is definite, she said. You think you know what's going to happen in life, but you don't. It's not up to you. I wrote that down when I got to my car. I won't forget it. It's the most honest thing she ever said. We will miss her. That was Tucker Carlson, and on the Daily Caller. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining. Like this video on YouTube if you can, if you are on YouTube, and subscribe. And if you're on Periscope / Twitter,
like and retweet,
but also head over to YouTube because YouTube is where our favorite people are.
Yeah.
And
look at you, Joe.
Yeah, Joe and
if you're still here.
Our friends. Doug, good night, Doug. It's good to see you. And see you all later.
Night, guys.
Good night.